الحمدللہ رب العالمین والصلاة والسلام علی سید المرسلین اما بعد فاعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم الصلاة والسلام علیکہ یا رسول اللہ
الصلاة والسلام علیکہ یا رسول اللہ
وعلی آلہ وصحبہ یا حبیب اللہ
وعلی آلہ وصحبہ یا حبیب اللہ
الصلاة والسلام علیکہ یا نبی اللہ
الصلاة والسلام علیکہ یا نبی اللہ
وعلی آلہ وصحبہ یا نور اللہ
وعلی آلہ وصحبہ یا نور اللہ.
My dear Islam brothers and viewers of Madani channel, welcome to the Silsila Blissfull Saher, the Seri program in the UK. Those of us in the studio have already performed our Seri, and many of you around the UK are either getting ready to perform your Seri or have already performed it. Unfortunately, half of Ramadan is gone, and maybe we've not taken benefit from this beautiful month, but inshallah, I pray to Allah that for the remaining days that we have, we can try and take as much benefit as possible.
Inshallah.
We're now going to hand over to a Talawat, and inshallah we'll start the Silsila with Talawat of the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وَإِن تُبْدُوا مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ يُحَاسِبْكُم بِهِ اللَّهُ فَيَغْفِرُ لِمَن يَشَاءُ وَيُعَذِّبُ مَن يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قدير. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah, MashaAllah, Azawajal. My dear Islam brothers and viewers of Madani channel, we said it before and we'll continue to say this. Please make an intention to recite the Holy Quran on a daily basis. Especially during this blessed month of Ramadan, where the reward is so great. It almost seems as if we are missing this golden opportunity, and who knows, this golden opportunity may never come again. We may not see the month of Ramadan next year, so we need to take as much benefit from this month of Ramadan as possible and make a good habit during this month so that we can continue reciting the whole of the Quran, the Quran for the whole of the year as well, inshallah. Before we actually introduce the topic today, we're now going to have a kalam from Bishadba, inshallah, and then we'll go on from there, inshallah.
Sallallahu alayhi. لم يأتي نذيرك في نظر لم يأتي نذيرك في نظر مثل تو نہ شد پیدا جانا جگ راج کو تاج تورے سر سو ہے تجھ کو شہ دوسرا جانا یا رسول اللہ یا حبیب اللہ یا رسول اللہ یا حبیب اللہ البحر علا والماء
من بے کس و طوفان ہوش روبا من بے کس و طوفان ہوش روبا منجدار میں ہوں بگڑی ہے ہوا منجدار میں ہوں بگڑی ہے ہوا موری نیا پار لگا جانا یا رسول اللہ یا حبیب اللہ یا رسول اللہ یا حبیب اللہ فی عطش وسخاکۃ اے گیسوئے پاک ابر کرم اے گیسوئے پاک ابر کرم برسن ہارے رم جم برسن ہارے رم جم دو بوند ادھر بھی گرا جانا یا رسول اللہ یا حبیب اللہ یا رسول اللہ یا حبیب اللہ الروح فداک فزد حرقا یک شعلہ دیگر بیزر عشقا یک شعلہ دیگر بیزر عشقا مورا تر مندھن سب پھونک دیا مورا تن مندھن سب پھونک دیا یہ جان بھی پیارے جلا جانا یا رسول اللہ یا حبیب اللہ یا رسول اللہ یا حبیب اللہ بس خامائے خام میں نوائے رضا نہ یہ طرز میری نہ یہ رنگ میرا نہ یہ طرز میری نہ یہ رنگ میرا ارشاد احبا ناطق تھا ارشاد احبا ناطق تھا ناچار اس راہ پڑا جانا لم یاتی نذیر کا فی نظر مثل تو نہ شد پیدا جانا.
Subhanallah. Inshallah, before I actually move on, we've had a few messages, and I think it's quite appropriate, mashallah, because you just read a Naat. A brother has said that, do we do Hifz classes for boys in Bradford? I think we do, but we'll get in touch with you afterwards. Do we? Yeah? Yes, we do. We do Hifz classes for boys in Bradford. We'll send you the details of the Zimmadar there, and you can get in touch with them. But also, after they were listening to your Naat, they said, and do we do Naat classes as well? My dear Islamic brother, please join the Mahol of Dawat Islami. Come and travel in the way of Allah Azza wa Jal, travel on the Madani Qafilas. Inshallah, you'll get this jazba, you'll get this love, and automatically everybody that's in the Mahol of Dawat Islami becomes a Naat as well, alhamdulillah.
I think Dawat Islami is the best academy for being a Naat.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. So I hope this brother that's watching, we've answered your question. Please attach yourself to the Mahol of Dawat Islami, and inshallah Azza wa Jal, you'll become a Naat Khan. We're just going to go on now to the wazaif.
Inshallah.
The wazaif, inshallah, the daily wazaif. We try and make a habit of reciting these every day. And the hope is that we get a habit of reciting them, you learn them, and then inshallah, after the month of Ramadan, you continue with this beautiful habit as well, inshallah.
Inshallah. The first wazifa we're going to read, inshallah. By reciting this wazifa 3 times in the evening and in the morning, one would die as a believer.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah. Let's all read together, inshallah. Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min an nushrika bika shay'an na'lamuhu wa nastaghfiruka lima la na'lamuhu. Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min an nushrika bika shay'an na'lamuhu ونستغفرك لما لا نعلم. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من أن نشرك بك شيئا نعلمه ونستغفرك لما لا نعلم. The second wazifa, inshallah, we're going to recite. By reciting this 3 times in the morning and evening, one would get protection for his deen, life, wealth, and the family.
Subhanallah.
Inshallah. Bismillahi ala dini Bismillahi ala nafsi wa wuldi wa ahli wa mali. Bismillahi ala dini Bismillahi ala nafsi wa wuldi wa ahli wa mali. Bismillahi ala dini Bismillahi ala nafsi وَوُلْدِي وَأَهْلِي وَمَالِي. And inshallah, the wazifa, the word we're going to recite now, by reciting once in the morning and in the evening, one would be saved from grief, and to pay off debts, one must recite 11 times in the morning and in the evening. Inshallah. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-huzni wa a'udhu bika min al-ijzi wal-kasali wa a'udhu bika min al-jubni wal-bukhli wa a'udhu bika min ghalaba id-dayni wa qahri rijal.
MashaAllah. We said this before, my dear Islamic brothers, that this is available on this booklet here, the Shajara Sharif. You can download this on www.dawatislami.net. It's available at all our Manqabats stalls. You can get this in English or in Urdu. There's the Urdu one and there's the English one. You can get them in both languages. It's available there. And in this is the daily wazaif that we read, and there's other wazaif in there, so you can make a habit of trying to read them. Inshallah, what we're going to do now is we're going to recite the Shajara Sharif, and the Shajara Sharif is in the form of a dua, and it mentions all of those people right from the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam right up to Amir al-Sunnat, and is in the form of a dua. And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us that dua is the weapon of the moment, and inshallah, if we can all take part in this dua, and inshallah we will all benefit from it as well. Shajara Sharif Huzur.
Salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulullah wa ala alika wa sahabika ya Habib Allah. Ya ilahi rahm farma Mustafa ke vaste, Ya Rasul Allah karam kije Khuda ke vaste. Mushkil har kar shahe mushkil kusha ke vaste. Karbalaye rad shaheed Karbala ke vaste. Sayyid Sajjad ke sadke में साजिद रख मुझे علم حق دے باقر علم خدا کے واسطے صدق صادق کا تصدق صادق الاسلام کر بے غضب راضی ہو کاظم اور رضا کے واسطے بہر معروف و سری معروف دے بے خود سری جند حق میں گن جنے دے باصفا کے واسطے بہر شبلی شیر حق دنیا کے کتوں سے بچا ایک کارک عبد واحد بیریا کے واسطے بلفرح کا صدقہ کر من کو فرا دے حسن و سعاد بلحسن اور بو سعید سعد زا کے واسطے قادری کر قادری رکھ قادریوں میں اٹھا قدر عبد القادر قدرت نما کے واسطے احسن اللہ لہم رزقا سے دے رزق حسن بندہ رزاق تاج الاصفیاء کے واسطے نصر بھی صالح کا صدقہ صالح و منصور رکھ دے حیات دین محیے جاں فضا کے واسطے تور عرفان و علو و حمد و حسن و بہا دے علی موسیٰ حسن احمد بہا کے واسطے بہر ابراہیم مجھ پر نار غم گلزار کر بھیک دے داتا بھکاری بادشاہ کے واسطے خانہ دل کو زیاد روح ایمان کو جمال شہزیہ مولا جمال الاولیاء کے واسطے دے محمد کے لیے روزی کا رحمت کے لیے خوان فضل اللہ سے حصہ گدا کے واسطے دین و دنیا کے مجھے برکات دے برکات سے عشق حق دے عشق عشق انتما کے واسطے حب اہل بیت دے آل محمد کے لیے کل شہید عشق حمزہ پیشوا کے واسطے دل کو اچھا میں عطا کر چشم تر سوزے جگر یا خدا الیاس کو احمد رضا کے واسطے یا خدا عطار اور احمد رضا کے واسطے صدقہ ان آیان کا دے چھے عین عز علم و عمل عفو عرفان عافیت اس بے نوا کے واسطے کہتے رہتے ہیں دعا کے واسطے بندے تیرے کر دے پوری آرزو ہر بے کسو مجبور کی کر دے پوری آرزو ہر بے کسو مجبور کی صلوا علی الحبیب
صلوا علی محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم.
My dear Islamic brothers and viewers, of Madani channel. You're watching the Silsila Blissfull Saher, which is the Sari program in the UK. The people in the studio have already performed our Sari, and many of you have already performed it, and there'll be people right up to the end of the Silsila. We've had messages from around the UK that are 2:30, 2:45, depending on the local timetable. In various places they have performed the Sari. So I hope that you can stay with us right to the end of the program. With regards to the topic of today, in yesterday's topic, Orhan Bhai mentioned that in this dunya we're here for a very, very short time. And so the ultimate goal is to prepare ourselves for that place where we're going to live for infinity, i.e. paradise. And so in today's topic we're going to talk about, the beautiful fragrance of paradise. We're going to talk about those people that are not going to have the fragrance of paradise. And we're going to talk about those people who, insha'Allah, through their efforts will attain paradise. It is said with regards to the fragrance of paradise, that the fragrance of paradise is it's so beautiful that it can be smelled at a distance of 500 years of traveling. So if someone was to travel on a horse for 500 years, I can't even work out what that would be. If someone was to travel on a horse for 500 years, then the beautiful smell of paradise would reach that distance that person has traveled in 500 years. But unfortunately, there will be some people that will be devoid and will not benefit from the beautiful fragrance of paradise. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Inshallah, we have the Mubalis here with us as well, and they're going to, inshallah, talk, and I'm just going to take part as they go along.
We have a couple of different examples given to us from Hadith about people that need to be aware about what can cause them to distance themselves or be banished from paradise. One example, we are told women who are clothed but are still naked. So you can take the translation from this yourself, that people, they are wearing clothes, but they're still revealing themselves. They're still revealing themselves, and they're walking in a way where they are enticing people towards them. So we are attracting people by the way we look, and with other examples of women making hairstyles explained as humps
on the camels,
humps of like camels on their heads. They will not enter paradise nor even smell its fragrance. And its fragrance can be smelled from such and such a distance, like you've just explained.
From that we can see, my dear Islam brothers and viewers of Madani channel, that we're now talking about those sisters that do cover themselves but actually don't cover themselves. In Islam, it's farz upon the sisters to cover everything bar the hands and the part of the chehra there. And unfortunately, what the Prophet of Allah ﷺ is saying to us here is that there are those sisters, and in the hadith, the Prophet of Allah ﷺ is also saying, what is beautiful about that particular hadith, which you've not really mentioned, is the Prophet of Allah ﷺ said that I've not yet seen this. I've not yet seen this, but a time will come when this will happen. So this is again a miracle of the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, that he knows that this will happen in the future. And so he's talking about those sisters who cover themselves, but unfortunately don't cover themselves, in a way that they might wear tight jeans, they might wear clothes that are thin and visible and can see through. They might entice people in their walk by wearing such shoes that will entice people and make people and if you can't smell paradise, then obviously you can't get into paradise.
Exactly.
So if you can't smell something from 500 miles, 500 years of distance away, then obviously you cannot get into paradise. So the Prophet of Allah ﷺ is telling us here that those sisters, please, and he talks about, the Prophet of Allah ﷺ talks about those sisters who dress themselves, but they're not covered, so they're covered and not covered. Those people who entice people, so they may cover themselves, but they may wear tight clothing, or they may walk in an enticing way that attracts the men's intention. And then the Prophet of Allah ﷺ goes on to talk about those people, those sisters who have a hairstyle, who have and the Prophet ﷺ mentions like a hump,
like a camel
humps on the head. And so we see nowadays that, and I remember Nigarani Shura once said that, unfortunately some of the sisters wear the scarf, the headscarf, but they wear it in such a way that they make it attractive to people as well. So although they are covering themselves, they feel that they're following the laws, the commands of our Prophet ﷺ, but unfortunately the way that they are doing
Yeah.
It still has that effect where people are looking towards it.
You're supposed to be dressing. The message to us there is given that, you know, be modest, dress modest. You know, you see it unfortunately these days as well, that the sisters are, in a way, they would see themselves as making an effort. They're covering their heads, but this is a clear example and a sign here that warns us that, you know, the headscarf should be worn in a way where it doesn't have the hair in a certain style, and it appears as a hump. You know, and sometimes sisters, they might be covering their heads, but unfortunately the rest of their clothes that they're wearing is still revealing the shape of the body, unfortunately.
In public or whatever, is that she should have just the hands can be shown and the face and the feet. And you see, they have these scarves on, but they have t-shirts on, or kameez with half sleeves, and
or tight jeans on.
And the concept of parda is not there. You know, I think they don't understand why are we covering our head. And some, you know, like when we were young and used to hear the older women, they say sir kaj. So you used to see women, especially a few years ago, I think now alhamdulillah with the knowledge of Islam increasing, you used to see women who used to cover their head. Now covering your head and covering your hair, they are two different things. And you used to see, especially in Pakistan, you see them, they used to wear the scarves, the chila, the chadar, and it just round the head, because they've been told cover your head, sir kaj, whereas it should be, all the hair should be covered.
The whole message behind this particular hadith is the haya, the modesty. And the modesty is not just there for the sisters, but it's also, modesty is there for the brothers as well. And the Prophet of Allah ﷺ has emphasized haya as being one of the branches of iman. Haya is one of the branches of iman, and the Prophet of Allah ﷺ says that if you don't have haya, do whatever you want. Because basically if you don't have haya, then nothing ever matters. You know, and this is what we need to think about, is what is a haya? And when haya is such a huge topic, that, you know, haya, you know, what haya do we have on our phones? What haya do we have on our laptops? What haya do we have when we're on the streets, when we're talking to people? What haya do we have when we're in our businesses and walking things? And same with our sisters. What haya do our sisters have when they are walking the kids to school and they meet the lollipop man and they're talking to him? Where is the haya then? When they're going shopping, where is the haya then? So haya is a very important thing, not just for the sisters. In this particular hadith, the Prophet of Allah ﷺ is talking about haya for the sisters, talking about those sisters that will not attain the smell of paradise, but on a wider concept, haya is just not for this. I don't want the sisters thinking that we're just having a go at them. Haya is for everybody. And I think we need to emphasize this, that, you know, in the Quranic verse where we are told to lower our gaze, this lowering of the gaze is not just for the sisters, it's for the brothers as well. You know, the brothers need to lower their gaze as well, and they need to protect their eyesight as well.
You see a lot of brothers as well. I get to meet a lot of people in the work that I do. And I've seen our own brothers, they will be wearing clothes, you know, even for men, the sitar, you know, the minimum is to cover up from above the navel, the belly button, down to below the knees. Including below the knees, basically. This is the minimum coverage. But the lads these days, they want to, you know, when the weather's good, they want to wear shorts as well. And they'll be longish, but unfortunately the knees will still be being revealed. And a lot of them, unfortunately, don't even know that this is not allowed. You know, on occasions I've had to remind them that, brother, you know, you need to be covering below the knees.
I think the other problem as well is, Rian, by all situations. And you know, one of the beautiful things of the Mahol of Dawah Islami is that Amir al-Sunnah teaches us to have parda me parda. The brothers here that you can see, they're wearing the brown chadars with them, they're already covered. Yeah, the sitar is already covered, but by them wearing the brown chadar, it's parda mein parda. So it's this extra cover, because then they can stretch their legs, they can move their legs, and there's no risk of losing the parda. So whatever attire you wear, the brothers especially, and the sisters, whatever attire you wear, it should be such that whatever position you are, wherever you're sitting, whether you're in sajda, when you're sitting up, or whatever you're doing, then your parts should still remain covered as well.
Yeah, we're trying to, unfortunately, go towards the Western culture when it comes to the things that we wear, and a lot of the times these do happen to be very tight and restrictive clothes, and this then gets in the way, unfortunately, of, like you say, when the brothers want to go and read their salah, when they're going into ruku or sajda, unfortunately the certain areas of the body become revealed, and that tells you that one that's not allowed to be revealed. We talked about in the laws of salah, the minimum coverage that you need before you can even read your namaz. So I don't want to comment on whether that person's namaz is being accepted or not, but we have already explained it from the book that what the rules are, and that these parts need to be covered. So if the clothes are that tight that those areas are going to become revealed to others, then we need to refrain from this.
We've got a beautiful message here, Rian Bhai. We mentioned at the beginning that the distance covered in 500 years, yeah? One of the brothers, mashallah, is going away and use his calculator for us.
Subhanallah.
He says that the fastest horse was 44 kilometers per hour. So in 44 hours, in 24 hours, and so on and so on. Anyway, to cut it short, he's done all the calculations for me. So full marks for your calculation, my dear Islam brother. He's also said here, he's worked it out that it's 192.7 million miles. 192.7 million kilometers. He's replied, he says, million kilometers. Which, I've not seen any car do that kind of mileage. 192.7 million kilometers is the distance, and we can just imagine what kind of distance that is. I mean, I can't even, maybe the brother can tell us in reference to the distance, because I think just around the world is 24,000 miles.
From the earth to the sun, I think, is 92 million miles.
Sure. So it's there and back.
There you go.
And just going around the whole world is only 24,000 miles. The circumference of the earth is 24,000 miles, so you can just work out how many, but irrespective of whether it's there or here, it's a huge distance, 192.7 million kilometers, yeah? To count to a million will probably take us a year. 192.7 million kilometers. Jazakallah for that, though, my dear Islam brothers.
I just want to elaborate on what you're saying about, when you go to read salah, when you go to pray your namaz, and you see it's usually youngsters, and they're dressed inappropriate for what they're doing at the time. They're in ibadat, and you said that in namaz they're going to struggle to go into ruku and sajda. But even if you go back a few steps, even when they're doing their wudu, or even before that, how hard it must be, to wash yourself, to do your wudu. And it's a humble request. Look, if you feel you can't wear the madni libas, or you can't wear the loose attire, the jubba, then at least do this much: that have something in place where you have the madni, the kameez or the jubba, carry it with you in your car. So if you are working, it's lunchtime and it's the namaz time, you can put it over your clothes.
You made all that effort to come.
I went to Turkey, and the imam sometimes he comes in, and he might be wearing a jacket which probably does cover his sitar. It's down to half thighs. But when he comes in, he gets a big jubba on. He puts the jubba on, performs the namaz, and then he takes the jubba off, hangs it up, and walks outside the masjid as well.
It creates that humility in your heart, and you have to remember whose quote you're in. When you're reading, you're offering your namaz, you're in Allah Azza wa Jal's quote. So the more humble you are, the better.
If you're going to make all that effort, if you're going to make all that effort of going there and to travel there, you
should make all that effort, and you should make sure that you're going to, you are going to perform your salah properly. But again, the hadith that we were talking about is basically that specific one. It mentions the sisters, and it mentions the haya. And if we look at haya generally, there was a waqia in the time, I don't know if you've both been to school in this country. In this country, in history, you learn a little bit about the Crusades. At the time of the Crusades, there was the Crusades was basically battles in Europe between the Muslims and the non-Muslims, and there was a Muslim army that travelled from Istanbul to Vienna. And it stopped at a place called Belgrade. And when they were in Belgrade, they were resting, and there was a person at the top of the hill, and he saw the Muslims, and he realized that wherever the Muslims went, they were successful. That wherever this army went, there was nobody could defeat this army. So what he decided to do was, he decided to split the army. And how he did it was, he gathered all the beautiful women of the town, made them put all the makeup on, made them put all the nice clothes on, and he gave them all a bucket. And you think, what's a bucket got to do with it? He gave them all a bucket, and he said to them that the time for Salah is approaching. And when the time for Salah approaches, these Muslims, they will come and perform the wuzu. And in the middle of the town there's a fountain. Right? In the middle of the town there's a fountain, and so what will happen is these Muslims will come and they'll perform wuzu. You walk down with your buckets, so it makes it look like you're picking up water. But when you're down there, talk to the Muslims. Yeah, get the Muslims to stay behind with you. Talk to them, distract them, get them to stay with you and stay behind, and that way we'll split the army. So the idea was put into place. The time for namaz came, and these sisters, they got hold of the buckets and they started walking down the hill, and the brothers are performing the wuzu at the fountain. And in the books it says that it doesn't actually say exactly what happened, but it infers that one Muslim saw the sisters, saw these women coming down the hill. He sent a message to all of he basically sent a message there and said, look, we need to move to one side. And all of the whole of the Muslim army moved to one side. Subhanallah. And so what happened was, these women that were walking down the hill, they can't talk to backs. So the backs were to the sisters, to these women. So these women had no choice. They filled up the water and went back up the top of the hill. Now this person at the top of the hill that put this plan into practice, he was seeing all this. And when he was seeing all this, he realized, he wrote a letter. He sent it with the fastest horse at the time. And he sent it to the army that this army was going to face. And he said to them, in the letter he said, run for your lives. Run for your lives, because you will never ever be able to defeat this army. Now the question is, my dear Islam brothers and viewers of Madani channel, what did that person see? What did he see that scared him such that he sent a message to the army, run for your lives? What did he see? He saw the haya of the Muslims. Now, it amazes me that a non-Muslim can see the strength of a Muslim, but unfortunately today we're losing our haya. And maybe that is one of the reasons why we are being persecuted around the world. We're going against the sunnah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And to the extent, when you said this, you could learn a lot of Madani flowers from there. The point you said where the non-Muslim, he's seen this, the Muslim who's seen this, and he sent a message to the rest of the Muslims, turn your back, is a complete opposite today. Youngsters, they'll see there's a function or a gathering or there's a fun fair and there's a lot of women there. They'll be on their phone getting in touch with other Muslims to tell them, there's women here, let's go there. You hear these kind of stories, and it's a complete opposite of the teachings of Islam.
But then we also sit there and ask the questions, why? Why are the Muslims in this state around the world? Whereas there's a pure example. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, if you follow the Quran and follow my way, you will never go astray. And there's an example where we've gone away from the sunnah of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and ultimately we've gone astray, and we're in the situation that we are around the world.
These days, you will see that the way that advertising is done, the way that things are sold in this day and age, is by using women. They use women, they use their beauty, so to speak, to attract and allure people into, they're getting their attention from doing this. And we are told that the majority of those inhabitants of the hellfire will be women. Why is this? It's because that they've lost this haya now. They've lost this haya, and they don't have the modesty anymore. Very, very easily they will give themselves away, whether it is through what they are wearing, whether they go into relationships that are not allowed through Islam, etc. And our own sisters are doing this as well. And they need to realize that basically by doing this, what we began with this silsila with was that they will not be able to smell the fragrance of paradise. The woman is a very, very important and pure entity, a sanctuary, that should remain pure. And if you look at our mothers of the believers, of how much humility they had. Look at the daughter of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Queen of Paradise. That there was no dealings between men, the way they used to cover, etc. Even at the time of when she passed away, that the instruction was that Hazrat Ali himself was to do the janazah, the burial, and to prepare the body of the daughter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was how special and pure she was.
You're talking about lowering the gaze, and we're talking about haya, and alhamdulillah, Dawat Islami have given us this mindset that, you know, that haya se nazare jhuki rahengi, and we should try to keep our gaze lowered, and this is the sunnah of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, this is something which is missing as well in this day and age, and it's very, very important that we do amal on this, because like you said, we have a responsibility as men as well to control our eyes as well. And I remember a narration where I heard a brother doing a bayan, and he was talking about the haya of Imam alayhi sunnat, Imam Ahmad alayhi rahmah. And when he was younger, in his junior years, he seen a woman who was going past who wasn't a woman, wasn't a very good woman, pious woman, let's say. So what Allah Hazrat did, he picked his kameez up and he covered his face with his kameez, exposing his lower garment. And the lady, she said something like, you know, how strange are you that, you know, you're covering your eyes from looking at me, but I can see your salwar or whatever he had on underneath. And the junior Allah Hazrat, the answer he gave was beautiful. He said that when you cover your eyes from things you shouldn't be looking at, then your heart can't get instilled, and you know that lust won't come into your heart, and then this won't affect the private parts. So if you cut it off from the beginning, if you cut it from the root, i.e. if you control your eyes and control your gaze, then inshallah it won't, stage 2 and stage 3 and stage 4, 5 won't take place.
I think the other problem though, Wasim, in this particular country here, we're in the UK, I mean all three of us were brought up in this country, and sometimes I think that we've become immune to the problems here. And the only time I really noticed this is when someone comes from Pakistan for the first time, and they come here, and you're driving in the car, and every 2 minutes they're going, Astaghfirullah, and you go, what? Astaghfirullah, what? Astaghfirullah, and you're looking around thinking, what's he saying, yeah?
Must be my driving skills.
No, what's actually happening is, he's seeing things that have just become the norm for us. Yeah. He's seeing the billboards that have become the norm for us. He's seeing the women that have become the norm for us, and we just accept it. And someone gave this beautiful example. He said that, if you were to get a pan of hot water, yeah, and you put a frog in it, the frog will jump out of the water. Because all of a sudden it hits the hot water and it jumps out of it. But if you get another pan of water, cold water, put the frog in it, the frog's empty, turn the heat, slowly, to the same temperature as the first, heat it up, and what will happen is the frog will die. And this Mubaliki said to us, here in the UK, many of us are like that frog in that pan of water. Slowly we're getting this poison in and we don't even realize it. Slowly we're seeing these things around us, we don't even realize it. We're committing sins all the time and we don't even realize it. Whereas when someone comes from Pakistan the first time, or he's in our car, he's going, Astaghfirullah, because he's jumping out of the pan. He's like that frog that's jumping out of the fan every 2 minutes, whereas we're going, what? Because we don't realize it. And I think this is again where we need to examine ourselves and look to ourselves and think, like, are we really that frog that's dying of a slow poison? Are we really, in this country where we are we really taking that slow poison in, and are we dying? And someone here sent us a beautiful message. It's Dr. Lal from Bury, mashallah. Salam Khalid Bhai, the best way we can protect ourselves from those acts that displease Allah Azza wa Jal and give ourselves a chance of entering paradise is to be involved in the environment of Dawat Islam. I have personally seen vast improvements in all aspects of my personal and professional life since my family have been in the mahol of Dawat Islam. Please encourage our viewers, especially the sisters, to get involved with local ijtima, and please do dua for the sisters and the brothers of Bury who work tirelessly for the good of the deen. Jazakallah.
There is it's difficult for sisters, they must feel that they need to be accepted, in society, and that, there's a lot happening around them, and times moving on, fashions moving on, the type of clothes that people wear moving on, to try and be attractive. Unfortunately, they don't need to be like that, but unfortunately this is the way now, that the groups of society that we're in, where you feel the need to be attractive, to allure others in, and that's how you're going to get accepted, unfortunately. But this is not the way that we need to be. We need to protect ourselves from this, realize that you are pure, and bring yourself towards Dawat Islami.
Be the leader and don't be led.
Exactly. Come to the gatherings that the sisters go to. So many sisters have changed their ways by coming to the sisters' gatherings. They listen to the bayans, and they realize what is right and wrong, and they have a change in themselves, and they go from one extreme to the other extreme. But that's a good extreme, basically.
Madani.
Exactly.
Madani
you
fight.
see them, they would have come into the mahal as people who have been fashionable, but then down the line, as they slowly realize and change their ways, that they've started to dress modestly, the full burqa is being worn, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful for sisters to be like that.
Yeah, I think it's psychological as well. When you're away from deen and you're not practicing, your self-esteem is low and your confidence not there, and you feel like you have to do certain things just to feel involved or liked, or just to feel good about yourself. But alhamdulillah, Islam is such a religion that when you start practicing this religion, it'll give you confidence. Your self-esteem will go high, and then you have confidence and say, wait a minute, I don't need to take my scarf off, I don't need to take my hijab or niqab off for this person, that person. Alhamdulillah,
I remember, I think you were with us, Rehan, but I don't know if you remember, we went on an Ilakai Dora quite a long time ago in a town not very far from here. We were on a Madani Dora going out, talking to people, and we came across a little park area, and there were lads there with dogs on chains, and they had the chains around their neck, and they had the string vests, and you can imagine, and we all looked at each other and thought, nobody's going to talk to us here, But the Nigrani, he kind of pushed me forward. He said, Khalba, you try. I said, okay. So I went forward and I gave them Nikiki Dawat, and I said to them, is anybody here going to come? And they all started laughing, Is anybody come with us to the masjid? And they were all laughing amongst us. And one of them said, I'll come with you. And when he said he'd come with us, all of them started laughing at him, And he just turned around, I've got nothing else better to do, I'll go with him, So I thought, okay. So the Nigrani said to me, look, stay with him, because whatever you said has affected him. All the way to the masjid, you sit with him and talk with him. So all the way to the masjid, we're talking. And he said to me, brother, he said, this is not me. And I said to him, have I said anything to offend you? He said, I just want you to know that this is not me. I said, what do you mean? He said, look, I'll be honest with you. If I don't dress like this, if I don't act like this, I'll have no friends around here. This is what it's like around here. If I don't, and I said, look, come to the masjid. We'll be your friends. These people that live around here, they'll be the friends. So like you said, where there's a lot of peer pressure for the sisters to fit a certain, follow a certain fashion. In the same way, there's that peer pressure for the brothers as well. They're under a lot of pressure as well. You know that, we could talk about peer pressure as a whole topic, where brothers are under peer pressure to drink, brothers are under peer pressure to smoke, brothers are under peer pressure to go to parties. And this brother, what really worried me, he came with us to the masjid. And we got back to the masjid for Maghrib Salah. We did the Maghrib Salah, and then there was a bayan after Maghrib Salah. And then I sat down with him, and he said to me, he said, look brother, I read the Salah, but I didn't read the Salah. I said, what do you mean? He said, I just followed you.
The actions. I
just followed the actions. I said, what do you mean? He said, I forgot how to read Salah. So we got the laws of Salah, we gave it to him and said, here brother, this is it, what is written here, and learn it, and if you need, he said, I forgot how to read Arabic as well.
Allah.
Now this brother, he was in his 30s, and he basically, his story was that because he didn't have any friends, because his sohbat was this way, he became like that. And we said it so many times, it's the sohbat that affects you. And it's the same for the sisters as well. And Dawah Islami provides you that platform where you can come and you can be amongst those people that are the leaders rather than the people that are led. Where the sisters are those people that are leading the way forward for all the other sisters. They're providing an example for the other sisters that you don't have to be like them, you don't have to be like them, you don't have to be like them women on the billboards. You can be like this, and you can still be acceptable.
Exactly.
And alhamdulillah, the time is upon us now where, years ago people used to seek a girl in marriage because of her beauty. Now they're asking, is she in the mahal of Islam? Does she come to the ijtima? Does she read the namaz? So ye sawal puchte na, to ye change ho gaya na. So again, this is assisting the sisters that that you don't have to have the best fashion to be acceptable. And I think that's what we need, and this is what Dawah Islam is here for you. So any of our listeners out there that are feeling the effects of peer pressure, and I know that every single one of you youngsters that is listening today, if any of you are listening, if you're at school age, if you're at college age, university age, even if you go into the workplace and you're in the work environment, then it's very hard to restrict peer pressure, be it brothers or be it sisters. But Dawah Islami gives you that comfort, Dawah Islami gives you that strength. When you come to the ijtimas, it will help you to find that peer pressure and become a leader rather than being led. A little
piece of advice for the brothers as well and the sisters who are in the mahal, or generally anyone who's in the field of Islamic field who are doing the work of deen. That is a Madani request that we should, it's a sunnah to smile, and we should try as much as possible to apply this as well, because sometimes from the outside,
to sisters.
Brothers to brothers, of course, sisters to sisters. Sometimes, to make that clear, exactly. People from the outside, when they're looking in, I feel it could be the waswasa but they feel like, oh, we might come across a bit strict, and they're not smiling. So there's one thing when it comes to deen, we can't be, there's no leeway there. If something is farz or wajib, it's got to be done. Exactly. But other things, how we talk to people, how we approach people, arm around him, give him a hug, and just talk to him on his level. Just talk to somebody according to their intellect. I think it breaks the ice. But if you give it that strict look and looking down, which we should at the right times, but when you're just with that person, you're sitting in the park, relax a bit, chill out. Be a bit calm.
It reminds me of Amir al-Sunthi mentioned the story once that somewhere in Arab Sharif, there was two brothers there, and they were both in the Madani libas. They were both wearing imam shif and everything, chadar and everything. And an Arab said to him, who are you? Yeah. And they started to explain that, we are muballighs, we've come from Pakistan. Okay, so what do you do? Oh, we give neki ki dawat, we invite people to the deen and this and that. And you know what the Arab said? He said, you know what, I can believe it of you, but I can't believe it of him. I believe you do it, but I don't believe he does it.
Both dressed exactly
the same. And they were confused and they said, why? He says, because you're smiling and he's not.
Allah.
Plus, Khalid Bhai, when somebody looks from the outside, they think, they have this husn-e-zan that people who look like this, they're going to go to paradise. When I was in the Mahol and I used to see people like this, you have this, good view of the person. So when people from outside they're looking in, they think that we have the most peaceful life, anyone can have.
Yeah.
And we should, the way, what we preach and how we should live, alhamdulillah, we shouldn't have a lot of problems. But, when they see us and we look grumpy, they think, the grass may not be green on the other side. So they start getting this waswasa that actually, he looks even more miserable than me. So, we should try to have that way,
But if you watch Madani Mazakir, if you could just watch Madani Mazakir with the Mila Sunnat and Nigran Shura, how they smile at each other. You can just sit there and watch that all day long. And this is what entices people to you. Like you say, if you've got a grumpy face, nobody's going to... I've just got a few messages I want to read out first, Rayhan, by sorry. MashaAllah, another nice program. I've just gone back to work today, involving me to drive around. And all I've been thinking about is thank you, brothers, for updating us on this topic. May Allah guide us all. Ameen.
MashaAllah.
Salam, brothers. MashaAllah, beautiful program. I'm a regular follower of your program. Alhamdulillah, all your brothers are doing an amazing job. Special salam to my beloved Wasim Bhai. MashaAllah. Another must be. Another one. MashaAllah. Very nice program. Allah give you jaza. Jazakallah. You can continue sending in your messages. Just another thing I just mentioned. A few people have sent in fiqh questions. I'm not in a position to answer fiqh questions, and neither is anybody here. Amir Sunnah, you see on Madani Muzakir that even on Madani Muzakir, unless he has the muftis with him, he will not answer the fiqh questions. And what we realized, we've spoken to the majlis and we realized that after Eid, inshaAllah Azawajal, we'll have the English speaking scholars in the studio. We'll get your questions in and they will answer them and they will give you the references from the book, and that is the way forward, inshallah. Because even if I was to give you the answer, because I haven't got the references, because I'm not qualified, it's not going to clear it. So inshallah Azawajal, when the scholars are in here, they'll open the books, they'll give you the reference from the book, and inshallah it'll be clear for you. So I do apologize, you don't think I'm ignoring you. All of you that are sending in your fiqh questions, we are keeping a note of them, and inshallah after Ramadan, when we start the silsila, we'll include them questions in our silsila.
We're talking about haya and modesty. Is Ramazaan now, and soon after Ramazaan is going to still be summer, and it's that time of year when two become one, when people get married. And what I want to say on that is there's quite a lot of opportunities in there where unfortunately you can go down the wrong path when it comes to haya. Music in its own place, but the veiling, that is a big problem, and it's an international problem. And one thing what I just want to get out to the brothers, to the viewers of Madani channel, is that especially when the bride is in the house, you hear and you see when you were younger that they call a cameraman, who I am sure is not the bride's brother.
No.
Nor is it her father. And he's a stranger, he's in the house. And the bride, she's got the best clothes you could think of. Maybe her arms are not covered, and she's got a few £1,000 of gold on. She's got makeup on and everything else. So I'm painting this picture for you. So this lady, she's sitting on the bed, flowers and roses all around. And now there's a cameraman. It's not related to him. He's zooming in and out on her neck, on her ears, because she's got jewelry on her arms. And they're making this film, and the father or the husband, who's the new husband of this woman, they're watching there, he like Nick Shura says, this, we're sitting there and they'll be laughing. And this thing doesn't happen in the heart that this is my wife, this is a lady, and I'm calling a stranger into. If somebody went past your house and got his phone out and took a snapshot of your wife and ran away, what would you do? Thus, you are giving them ijazat, you're paying them to come in the house and come here, sit down and record my wife.
Not only that, Wasim bhai, you're making a video. This video is obviously going to get distributed.
These days on social
So
media.
many people are going to watch this. There's even programs out there for competitions on who's done the best wedding. You know, and it gets aired on Sky and this, that and the other, and it's being shown to so millions of people get the opportunity to watch it.
The worst thing is that
this is your wife.
And the worst thing is they'll come to, after that, the people, family and relatives, they'll come to your house, or shadi di film banaiye, can we borrow it? So they'll take this film, and you know, they sit at home and it's like they're watching, they'll have their popcorn and whatever else out, and they're sitting there and there's men in the house, because we men, we know, there's men in the house, there's women in the house, they're watching this. They're watching this, and when this scene which I've just explained is taking place, the men, Jawan children, Jawan men, they're watching this, and you know, the father is his friend's daughter, and he's there watching as well. They're watching, and it's like, Hayat ka, what Nigrani Shura said, Hayat ka to janaza uthiya na.
You know.
What do you say?
Well, the Majlis is saying that Wasim bhai, after Eid, can you bring in some popcorn for them as well, inshallah?
Subhanallah.
I'll watch Madani Muzakras.
You know, to continue with that, Wasim bhai, you know, I've been to the weddings also of the brothers from Dawud Islam.
Alhamdulillah.
You know, these are people who have come into the mahal, and the way that their ceremony is beautiful. You know, and if yours wasn't like that and you were in the mahal now, you can only be jealous of
what happens is, but when people see them weddings of people that are in the mahal, people that do parda, they think, oh, backward people, and they're scrimping on money because they've not got music there, they've not got the lights there, they've not got the female waiters serving us the food, so they're saving money, conjuice bande, you know, these are backward people. So again, it creates that kind of impression, and what people need to realize is that is not backward. The time of Jahiliyyah, when these sort of things happened, that was backward. The time, by following the sunnah of the Prophet of Allah, by following the commands of Allah, this is progressive, not being Jahiliyyat and following them sort of commands.
Exactly. You know, those, you know, the proper way to do it, you know, that we were in the masjid, you know, there was people, they were doing bayan, they were doing naat, you know, they were remembering the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and praising the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then there was you know, our modest, basically we sat together and we had something to eat. We never got to see the brother's wife and this, that, and the other. What business is it of ours to see his wife, you know, and this is what we've left, so that we can have this big show for everyone to see, what they call a tamasha now, and that's exactly what it is. But the people who don't understand will think, like you said, that they think we are backward, but then we are remembering our akhirat, you know, and the people who want to do, you know, we look at them and we think that these people, they are not remembering their akhirat. You know,
it depends on, you know, if you're doing amal on your deen, if you're practicing Muslim, if you're reading your namaz and you're saving yourself from guna, and it's the day of your wedding, you can put these restrictions in, Madani restrictions in. You can tell your family, look, I'm going to get married. My brother's sitting in the studio and he's a witness. I came in this mahal and 6 months later I got married. So when I went and got married, it was unheard of. Music ni, any light any line, any and all these, I heard all them. But you know, like you said, your self-esteem, your confidence, because you feel alive, because you started following the deen how you should do, it gives you so much confidence that you can rightly and say that, look, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this.
But people will put you down.
Of course.
At that time, people will say to you, why? But after the event, they will respect you for it.
100%. I like to think I started a bit of a trend, because I used to say to the people, I got married from Pakistan, and I used to tell them that, look, if I'm from England, and if my full wedding costs this much, which even they were thinking like that's, you know, so if my wedding can cost this much, why are you going out of your way to get loans? You know, from Pakistan, get married as simple as possible and blame me that Wasim bhai England so you know, they are going to use me as an example. And you know, like you're saying that after later on they respect you and everything else, you know, you can come to your wedding day in a helicopter, you could come in a horse, or you could go on foot. You could spend £100,000 or you could spend £10,000. You know, the public, they're the public. You know, after a week or two, they won't care about the lights. They won't care about everything else you did. You're going to get the guna for it, but what all they cared about, khana bada garam si, mithai badi changi si. If the food's not good, if the food's good or bad, that's made the wedding.
But Wasim bhai, if you provided this music and this show, who's going to be answerable for it? You've invited hundreds of people, hundreds and hundreds of people, and they're all witness to it. Yeah, you've included them in it. You know, shouldn't this be something that people should contemplate
100%.
on? You know, we need to be brave, like you said about that people, we shouldn't be worried about what people think. Yeah, let them think that when they actually come to it, there might be people in there that actually get some inspiration from this and think, you know what, this is how we should do our future weddings.
There's a trend was starting in Blackburn, Khalid bhai. You know, when we receive a wedding card, and it's my brother, not this one, the other one, alhamdulillah, we got 4 brothers. My other brother, he you know, when we receive a wedding card, it says RSVP at the bottom, and then response Silvu play in French. And underneath there, it says the information, if you got any problems, whatever, ring this number. So whenever we receive a wedding card, my brother, he's in the Mahol as well, alhamdulillah, he phones the number up, he calls the number, and he says, Gee, I've received this wedding card from your house, and you know, and they say, yeah, Gigi, what's the problem? And you know, we invited, I just want you to ask, is there going to be music in this wedding? And then they get taken back a bit, and they, let me just ask, is my son's wedding? Son saying, yeah, we're getting a DJ. You know what it is, my son, he doesn't listen. Just to let you know that, then we won't be coming, because you know, if there's music there, and it's wajib for us to save ourselves from such places where sin is being committed. So you say it in a nice manner, and then they feel, actually, wait a minute, and they won't be naraz with you for not coming to the wedding, because you said it in the right way. And also, if they said, yeah, there's no music, then the second question, parde ki koi tarkeeb hai, is the men and women separate? Because you know, our women, alhamdulillah, they you know, they do parda, so we just want you to no, it's one whole, and they don't give us that facility. Okay, we won't come. And if every single person does that, Khalid bhai, people realize, actually, you can't have a wedding without music. You can't have a wedding without, you know, bepardagi taking place. And just a matter of standing up and you're leading by example and starting this Madani revolution.
Subhanallah, inshallah.
My dear Islam brothers and viewers of Munajaats, you're watching the Silsila Blissfull Saher, and we're talking about those unfortunate people that will never smell the fragrance of paradise. And there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which he said it'll be 500 years journey. And one kind brother sent us a message that it's 192.7 million kilometers of traveling distance, and that distance that the fragrance of paradise will not reach such an individuals. And we talked about the hadith mentioned the sisters, those sisters who cover themselves but don't cover themselves, those sisters who attract people by the way they are walking or the way they are talking, those sisters who entice people by the lumps on the head even though the hair is covered. And again, the Prophet ﷺ, this is again the wisdom of the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, that he says that I've never seen this, I've not seen this, but a time will come and this will happen. Yeah, and those people, they will not smell the fragrance of paradise. But in the hadith we'll see, there's other people that will also not attain the fragrance of paradise. And in one hadith it mentions that there'll be those people, there'll be men with whips like the tails of cattle. Men with whips like that. And before the program, me and Rehamba were saying, I don't fully understand that. And I read up on this, and what it basically is basically those people that are in a position of power. Yeah? Those positions that, be it police, be it security, they're in a position of power and they abuse that power. Yeah? So they're abusing that power by, you know, punishing innocent people, overburdening innocent people, and those people that, you know, you have been given a zimadari, you've been given a position, and you abuse that, yeah, by, you know, overpowering people, by pushing people to one side just because you got the power. Then again, the Prophet of Allah ﷺ is saying that these people, they will never attain the fragrance of paradise.
Like takeaway owners, you could say, not all of them, but same with taxi firms and people, organizations, businesses like this, you know, you tend to see a lot of them, they have that thing where they don't show mercy. They feel like they own this worker because he works for them, and they don't realize it's not your slave.
What happens is, in this country, and I'm only speaking for this country, I'm not speaking for abroad, is that people here take advantage of people's weaknesses. They find out that, oh, he's not got his nationality yet, so we give him the minimum wage, or we can even pay him less than that. And they say to them, look, you know, even though in this country there's a minimum wage, and by law they have to pay that man, they say to him, look, if you want to work for us, it's cash in hand, and it's this much. If you don't, there's the door. There's the door, bye-bye, And so they take advantage of that situation. And so this again, you know, zulm, of taking advantage of people, zulm, by forcing people to do things. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there will be men with whips like tails of cattle, and they will oppress people. And these people that oppress people, they will again be amongst those unfortunate people that will not attain the fragrance of paradise.
You're talking about zulm. There's some situations where they don't pay their workers on time. And there's a narration where it says, pay labourer his wage before even his sweat dries. And this is could be classed as zulm.
Again, it's really funny that my father used to say that, asan jile chote sa na, sanu deen da itna nahi pata, bas itna pata si namaz padhna hai aur achhe bande banna. theek hai? And he always said to me that, he actually told me, he didn't know it was a hadith, but he said to me, beta, if anybody ever works for you, as soon as they finish the job, before they pack up the tool, before they get in the car, make sure you pay them. And again, this is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that pay those people before this happens. We've got another message here. Please, can you make dua for my nephew who's critical in hospital following a car accident in Birmingham? I pray to Allah that may Allah restore him to his former health, and I pray that inshallah that Allah gives you all patience at this time of difficulty. I know it's a very difficult time when a loved one is had an accident and they are critical in the hospital. May Allah give you sabr, and may Allah through the blessings of this month restore this child to his former health. My dear Islam brothers and viewers of Madani channel, we're talking about those people that will not smell the fragrance of paradise. And there's another two hadiths which mention certain individuals who will not smell the fragrance of paradise. And one is that is narrated by Abdullah bin Amr radiyallahu ta'ala. Allah's Messenger sallallahu ta'ala sallam says, whoever killed a muhad, i.e. a person who is granted the protection by the Muslims, shall not smell the fragrance of paradise, though its fragrance can be smelled by a distance of 40 years of travelling in this particular hadith. So those people that are protected by the state, those people that the Muslims have said that they're under our protection, they're under our protection, that we are responsible for these people, then again you should not injure these people. You should not kill these people. And they are under our protection, so this, where they are living in a land where the Muslims are taking care of them, then you shouldn't be doing this. In another hadith, again, this particular hadith, we could talk about this all night. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and it's narrated in Tabarani Sharif, that the person will never smell the fragrance of paradise is the one who disobeys his parents. And yet in this particular hadith, the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, its fragrance can be smelt at a distance of 500 years. Now again, my dear Islam brothers and viewers of Madani channel, we need to reflect, and we've been saying this over these last couple of programs, that how are we at our home with our parents? We've talked about it, but do we reflect and do we think? We talk here for an hour and a half maybe. What changes do we bring in ourselves?
Even little things like sitting in your father's seat. Your father's not in the house, and this is my father, this is my Abuji's seat. When they watch Madani channel, they sit here. So then things like this will increase your love for your parents, because you'll have that ihsas that this is also showing respect to my parents. When your parents walk in, one, get out of their seat if you're sitting there, and secondly, stand up anyway. Show them that respect that this is my parents. And the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned that if you look after your parents, you will be granted a garden in paradise. And if you neglect the opposite, if you neglect your parents, then you're deserving a pit from the pits of hell. So now we need to realize, how do we treat our parents? If we carry on like this, let's judge ourselves. Like if we were to judge ourselves on the Day of Judgment, how we, just for this charge, how are you with your parents? Would you send yourself to paradise, or would you send yourself to the fire of hell? And there you get your answer.
I've heard a waqia regarding treatment of parents, where there was a person who was travelling, and he came into a new area, and it was a time for salah. So it was a time for adhan, and he saw something really strange. What happened was, as he was going past a grave, the grave started to shake, and a person came out of the grave, and he had the head of a donkey. Astaghfirullah. Now he made the sound of a donkey a few times, and then he went back into the grave. And this person who saw this, he was really concerned. So he asked the villagers and the people of the town that, where is the household? Where can I find the household of this person? And he was pointed in the direction of the parents, and he went there and he wanted to find out what's going on, and why is this person in this type of adab. And it was told to him that this person, he wasn't a good person, and he used to do bad things. Now when he used to go home, his mother used to complain to him, but this was complain out of concern, out of love. You know, try and sort yourself out, son. Yeah, you know, you don't be like this. You know, you need to stop doing these things. And the reply of this person was that, please, you know, you're making the sound of a donkey. Yes. You know, don't give me. You know, we say this is all. Don't give me a lecture. You know, we don't go that far. Maybe some people maybe do. Some people actually get violent against their parents, and they need to remember. You know, we mentioned it the other day about how Allah holds it so close that worship none other but me and respect your parents. You know how important it is, and even from this waqia as well, we get told that look, we need to fear. You know, it says, you're saying, Khalid, by that the people, they won't be allowed to enter into Jannah. You know, what will happen to those people who will not be allowed to enter into Jannah? They will be in azab. They will be in punishment.
So, you know, you may have somebody that's watching now, maybe they go out, you know, and they travel in the way of Allah Azza wa Jal, they spend in the way of Allah Azza wa Jal. Outside the house, they are following the deen and they're showing so much effort in following the deen. But at home, they're not respecting their parents, then, you know, you could say that all of that effort is going to go to waste. You know, we need to respect our parents and give our parents the due, because, you know, effectively they are the keys to paradise. Yeah? The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that, woe unto him. And in one riwayat, I think it actually says, may his nose be rubbed in the salt, in the dust, like may, you know, woe unto him, may he be disrespected, may he fail, you know, basically. And the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, woe unto him who finds his parents in old age, but through them does not attain paradise. So your parents are there to help you attain paradise.
The opportunity is there. You know, the story you're telling is about the face. I'll give you a story was a bit closer to our times. There was a counsellor once. Khalid Bhai was a counsellor. He went to a care home, Muslim counsellor, and he seen a Haji Sahib there, Buzurg there, and he goes, Haji Sahib, you know, what are you doing here? And Haji Sahib said that unfortunately my coughing problem and the persistence of my bad health, my family have decided enough is enough, I have to take you here on an appointment, I have to take you there, and they've just come and thrown me here. And the nurse was saying to him that he hasn't eaten for 3 days, so can you speak to him and tell him that he needs to eat? So once he addressed the situation, you know, the Buzurg, he said that they serve pork here. You know, how can I eat here? Go tell my family that, you know, take me from here. So he phoned the father, and the father was taken, you know, when I have time, you know, I'll come and see my father. So this counsellor, Khalid Bhai, he left his number there, and he went, and only 2 or 3 days later, they called the counsellor and said that the man, he's in his final breaths, you know, you need to come here and, you know, speak to him. So the counsellor came, and he seen him in, you know, in the pains of agonies of death, and, you know, he was uttering something. And he went close, and he could hear what he was saying, but he didn't understand what he was saying. And, you know, he passed away. And then he called the son, and he said, look, your father's passed away, come and sort the funeral arrangements out. And when he found out that what he was saying, he was uttering his son's name. He was uttering his son's name, and he wanted to go out of there, and he died there. Now you tell me, brothers, that, you know, that man, has he become a means of his son, the businessman, to enter paradise, or has he become a means of him to enter the fire of hell? And, you know, this is like, should be a wake-up call for us. And, you know, we should realize this, and alhamdulillah, this is the mindset what Dawat Islami gives us, and that we need to realize the importance. Like every day here we talk about these different topics, and parents is very, very important. And I want to just request that do keep watching Madani channel. Like if you look, the topic today is paradise, and how to get close to paradise, and the opposite, you know, them people who will be away from paradise. Now if you close your eyes, and I said to you, if you attend the Ijtima of Dawat Islami every Thursday, and what comes in your mind, heaven or hell? If you said Dawat Islami to somebody, they will think this action, this organization will make me go towards paradise. You know, if you said to somebody, close your eyes, I'll say one word, tell me heaven or hell, Madani Kafla, they will say heaven. If you tell somebody, close your eyes, and you say to them, Madani channel, no doubt they'll say, these actions will get us to a paradise. Inshallah, this is what I want to say about this.
You know, with regards to the old people homes that we see in the UK, again, this is very sad that, you know, we live in this country, and not everything's bad about this country. There's a lot of good in this country as well. But unfortunately, what we've seen is that the Muslims, rather than they're taking the good, we're picking up the bad. Yeah. And we, you know, I used to live opposite an old people's home, and there was this English person, and he, you know, one day I saw him sat outside, and I went talking to him, and he got very upset, and he came to see me, and he said to me that he had a son, and I said to him, how far away does your son live? And he says, oh, he just lived down the road. And I said, okay, when was the last time you saw your son? And he said, it's been over a month since I've seen my son. And I remember one day we got in the car and I was going to town and I saw him. And I said to him, where are you going? He said, I'm going to see my son. And I said, I'll give you a lift. He said, no, I need the exercise. And I went all the way to town. I did all my shopping, came back, and he was still walking on that road. It was taking him that long to walk, and he was walking towards his son. And unfortunately, what we're seeing nowadays is that, alright, maybe, a lot of you are thinking, well, we're not that extreme, we've not got that. But again, how often do we visit our parents? Yeah? Is it our parents that have to come to see us, or do we get time to go and see them? And it's not a matter of getting time. We have to make time to go and see our parents, yeah? Our parents are loving to see us and they want to see us, but we think we're so busy in the dunya, I've got this job to do, I've got that person to meet, I've got that car to buy, I've got to go here, I've got to go there, I've got to see this, I've got to see that. And what happens is we forget our parents and don't give them that time that they're due. And what happens is our parents are there and like you say, they just live their life away in sadness, which again is sad. And what we need to realize is that, that time will come where the same will happen to us. We're going to get old as well one day, and so that time will come. And I remember there was this story of this person. His father, was giving him, his father was quite old, and he was being sick, and he was coughing and spluttering and everything. And I don't know if this is a true story, but I was always told this story when I was young. That one day, his son said to him that, come on, Dad, I'll take you out. And the father was quite happy that, my son's very well takes me out. Yeah. And he said, look, son, I can't walk. He said, don't worry, Dad, I'll carry you. Yeah? I'll put you in the wheelchair and I'll carry you. Subhanallah. So he puts the son on his shoulders and he's walking and he goes to a park. Yeah? And as they're walking around the park, there's a stream that's running, there's a river that's running through the park. Yeah? And as they get to the bridge, as they're walking over the bridge, the son lifts the father off and throws him down.
Astaghfirullah.
And obviously the father passed away. Many years later, that same son, he's now old. Okay? He's now old and he's living with his children. Yeah? And he's obviously starting to get to that stage in his life where he's been ill and he's coughing and spluttering and everything. And one day his son says to him, come on, Dad, I'll take you out. And he says to him that, son, I can't, anything. And his son says to him, come on, Dad, I'll put you in a wheelchair or I'll carry you, don't worry, we'll take you out, yeah? And they start going towards the park. And they're going towards the same park. Yeah? And the father says to the son, stop. And he says, okay, stop. He says, son, I know what you're going to do. He says, Dad, what do you mean? What do you mean? I know what you're going to do. He says, what am I going to do, Dad? And he says, you're going to throw me in that river, aren't you? And his son was shocked. And he says to his dad, how did you know I was going to do that? He says, because son, I did it to my father as well. I did it to my father as well. And then that son realized the error of his ways and he took his father home. But there's a saying in English, what goes around comes around. Yeah? If you treat others how you want to be treated, treat your elders how you want your children to treat you. Because what happens is, however you treat your elders, your children are watching. Of course. Yeah? They're watching Dad, was seen by how he's dealing with his dad and mum. They're seeing how you respect him or how you disrespect him. So they're going to think, well, my dad's taught me the way, that's the way, I'm going to do it that way. Your children are looking at you and say, okay, yeah, he talks to his mum like this, he talks to his dad like this, so that's how I'm going to talk to my dad and my mum like this, people. Because it must be right. If my dad are doing it, it must be right for me as well.
There's one hadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ that comes to mind where the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they're on an expedition and they come to a place and the Prophet ﷺ, he sees a woman, she's making a fire. She's getting the firewood ready and she's making a small fire and she's got a small child with her. And what's happening is, as the flames are coming up a little bit, and there's embers and sparks coming from the wood, she protects her child. And the Prophet ﷺ, he sees this and he approaches her. She asks that, are you the Holy Prophet ﷺ? And he replies, yes, I am. And she says that I have heard that Allah Azza wa Jal is more loving to His believers, His servants, than a mother is to her child. And the Prophet ﷺ, he starts to break down into tears, because she then goes on to say that a mother would never ever put her child in the fire, and So she's expressing her love for a child, and the Prophet ﷺ, he's crying now. He's in tears, and he says that this is very true. That Allah Azza wa Jal does love His servants more than a mother loves his child, but except for those who are rebellious and those who do wrong things. So this is what we've got to remember, that Allah Azza wa Jal, He loves you. And your parents, they love you as well. There's two examples there, that how much the mother is loving to her child, she will never throw him in the fire. And then also how much Allah Azza wa Jal will love you as well. You just have to do the right thing. You have to do the right thing.
The goal is, Rehan, that we need to get to paradise. And this is the topic today, that them people who won't even smell the fragrance of paradise, never mind being in paradise. And one other way of attaining paradise, and is a very famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that he who loves my sunnah has loved me, and he who has loved me will be with me in paradise. So the route is there, is made for you. Like, look, if you want to get to Blackburn from here, you go out, you turn left, and then you go here, you go there. Someone's asking me which way is it to Blackburn College, but I'm saying you go round about, left is there. We asking which way is it to paradise. The Khalid, by you telling us, if you follow the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, inshallah, this will be a means of you entering paradise. And you're saying, okay, but a lot of us, we're doing the complete opposite. So it's like me saying Blackburn's that way, and the guy saying Jazakallah for your help, puts his window up, does a U-turn and goes the complete opposite way. It doesn't make sense. So this is something what we need to do. We need to instill this love for the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. And sometimes you can tell if somebody has love for something. For example, if somebody loves music, anytime you see him, Khalid Bhai, he's got his earphones in, he's got his device out, he's got it on his computer, on his console, in his car, everywhere. Music is involved in his life. Somebody who likes football, he'll have a football shirt of that club, he'll have a fixture list, he might even have a season ticket for that. He know the formation, which player plays where, everything. Why? Because it's something what interests him and he has love for. Someone who loves cars, he know this car is V8, this is V6, this engine, that engine, because that's his field. Now, we say we love the Prophet ﷺ. Now, if someone sees us and asks this question, now look, somebody can ask, prove to me that you love the Prophet ﷺ. Imagine somebody said to you, you Muslims, you say so much about your Prophet and you show them so much love. Show to me your love for the Prophet ﷺ. You must offer your 5 times namaz, because the Prophet ﷺ says that Salah is the coolness for my eyes. So you are the lover of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. You no doubt must read your namaz. What answer can we give? Now every single person needs to ask themselves, do we offer our namaz? Because purposely missing even one namaz, you have to walk through the door of the fire of hell, which will have your name written on it. Now we say we love the Prophet ﷺ. This question, if it's asked, do you offer your salah? We know what the answer is going to be. Another question someone could say that if you love the Prophet, why do you dress like him? If you love your Prophet, why do you look like him? If you love your Prophet, why are you lazy in following the commands of Allah Azza wa Jal? And why are you lazy in following the way of the Prophet ﷺ? What can you say to that person?
There won't be an answer for
There won't be an answer for
There won't be an answer. People, what answer can they give to that? Apart from being shying, or like we said, if they haven't got any haya, they won't care. They won't care, about this. Who are we trying to prove? That's the bottom line. The direction that we're going in, the way we want to look, what we wear, how revealing we are, is that we have to ask ourselves, who are we making happy by doing
The Holy
this?
Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, he lost his parents, he lost his blessed wife, he lost his children, he lost his friends, in his lifetime. So what the Prophet did? He lifted his hands and he said, Ya Rabb, my Ummah. Ya Rabb, my Ummah. He still was concerned for our well-being. And look at the Ummah today, claiming that we'll die for you, yet we don't have the courage, Khalid Bhai, to even live like them.
No.
My dear Islam brothers and viewers of Madani channel, you're watching the Silsila Blissfull Saher. And once again, we start a topic and think, how we're going to get to the end of this topic, but we've not even started and touched this topic. And today we've touched upon those acts that will be amongst those unfortunate people that won't even smell the fragrance of paradise. But time's against us once again, and so we need to go into our remaining segments. We've only actually got 15-16 minutes. So, Rehan bhai, what story have you got from the Quran for us today?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today the story is about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, and the proclamation of Tawheed. So his claim to basically the oneness of Allah Azza wa Jal. At the time of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, there was the king who was called Namrud bin Kinnan, and his reputation was of a king that was very, very cruel. Very cruel. In fact, he was the first one to put on a crown. So all the royalties these days, they that wear a crown and so on, it is because it started from Namrud. he would force his people to worship him. He would actually make the people worship him, and he had a big following of astrologers and sorcerers, etc., etc. And when Hazrat Ibrahim a.s. came, he would look upon these things that they would worship, as well as Nimrud, they would worship like the stars and the moon and the sun. And one by one, when Hazrat Ibrahim a.s. he would look at these things, for example, he would see the stars, but as daylight started to appear, the stars would start to extinguish. And so he would say that, well, that can't be our Rabb, because
it's disappearing.
And then he would look towards the moon, and again the moon would be there for only a certain amount of time, and that would also have its turn and that would disappear. So he'd say that this cannot be our Rabb as well. And then even when the sun was out, one of the brightest thing that we have when we look at from the earth, and again even the sun sets, and Hazrat Ibrahim a.s. he would say that this cannot also be our Lord. So he'd start to warn the people. He'd give them one. He was respectful in the way he did it, though. He did not, he didn't upset anybody. He did not force anybody. It was just, it was wisdom basically that he was giving them. The translation from the Holy Quran, the surah is Al-An'am, verse 76 to 79. So when the darkness of the night came on him, he, Ibrahim, saw a star. He said, this is, you portray that this is my Lord. Then when it set, he said, I do not like the setting ones. Then when he saw the moon shining, he said, you proclaim that this is my Lord. Then when it set, he said, if my Lord had not guided me, I would have been one of these who went astray. Then when he saw the sun shining brightly, he said, you say that this is my Lord. This is the biggest of them all. Then when it set, he said, O people, I do not have any connection with whatever you ascribe as partners to Allah. I have directed my face towards Him who has created the heavens and the earth, being solely devoted to Him, and I am not a polytheist. Meaning that we don't believe in anything else apart from Allah Azza wa Jal. And from this story of that we get today from the story of the Quran, that I mentioned that when Hazrat Ibrahim a.s. he tried to persuade the people that look, these things are just creations, and just use your minds, use your brains, that these are things that are coming and going. How can they be your Lord? But he did not upset anyone, and he didn't force it. And the moral that the author writes here is that this is a message for us brothers as muballighs and muballaghas, that when you give neki ki dawat, or when you're doing bayan, that keep in mind that okay, you're doing islahi bayan, you're trying to rectify people, but try and do it in a manner where you don't push people away. Don't upset them, and don't, hurt someone's emotions or feelings, but keep in mind that you do it in the correct way for good guidance.
But it's a major obstacle, a lot of people face today, that, they might feel scared, because the way someone might give them neki ki dawat. Amir al-Islam quite brilliantly puts it that if you see an animal, you see a cat and you go, the cat will come to you. But if you go shh, even the cat will run away. And a cat is a cat. The human, our creation, be more intelligent. And if you give somebody neki ki dawat, or you say harshly, then next time he sees you, he's going to cross the road. And you want to leave that impression that when he leaves you, he wishes when that chance going to come again, that when I'm going to meet this brother, I'm going to sit with him. And if you can master that,
Subhanallah. But alhamdulillah, most of the time when you do hear from people that those Islami, the Madani brothers, the way they portray themselves is with love, they are smiling, they give such beautiful manners, that this is our
the affairs of a media listener. People, whoever's attracted to a media listener, the majority will say, we've seen them on Madani channel and their smile and their humbleness and how they come across and how they meet and greet people. You got to remember the age as well. When people get that age, they usually get impatient. But media listeners, alhamdulillah.
Subhanallah.
MashaAllah. After that, we've now again times are very short. Which one are you going to give us first today?
Laws of Salam.
Laws of Salam, MashaAllah Azza wa Jal.
We were on yesterday. We were on. We went sajda, the sunnahs of sajda. So we're going through the sunnahs of salah, and today we're going to go through the sunnah of jalsa. Now jalsa is that position which you sit between the two sajdas, the sujood, the in between where you sit. This position is called jalsa. So it's sunnah to keep the right foot upright and the left foot flat and sitting on the left foot. This is the sunnah way to sit in this position. Keeping the toes of the right foot towards the qibla. So like we said how it is in sajda, our foot is pressed, the right one, and is facing qibla even in jalsa. Placing both hands on the thighs when you're sitting in between the two sajdas. And there's only a few for the sunnahs for standing for the second rakat. I'll cover them as well. There's 2 for them. After the completion of both the sajoods, the sajdas, after you've done the second one, it is sunnah to stand up for the second rakat with the support of the toes. With the support of the toes. Placing hands on knees. However, there is no harm in placing the hands on the ground for standing up due to weakness or pain in the foot. So it's sunnah to stand up and have your hands on your thighs whilst you're getting up and getting the assistance from your toes. But obviously where there's a majburi and your old age, tiredness, you can use your hand. صلوا على الحبيب محمد. You want me to go through this blessings of Ramazaan?
Inshallah, yes, please do.
We're going on to 33 points about, we'll go through 5, the 33 points about exemptions for not having fasts. So the reasons for not having fasts. But remember that one will have to keep qaza of these fasts, every single one they've missed, once they have relief from the shari majburi, the situation. So one, a traveller has the choice whether to fast or not. We covered this yesterday, a bit of this. So a traveller, he has a choice if he wants to keep a fast or not. Number 2, if a traveller and his companion do not suffer any harm in case of fasting, it is preferable to fast during the journey. But if either of them or both of them will suffer, then it's better for them not to fast. But it's preferred, and it's this day and age, it's not very hard to suffer, to travel. Number 3, if a traveler becomes a resident, the Shari definition that if he's there for 15 days or more, he'll become a resident. So if a traveler becomes a resident before Dawa-e-Kubra, Shari midday, and he hasn't yet eaten or drunk anything, it is wajib for him to make the intention of fast. Let's say, for instance, someone lives in the famous Pakistani city of Hyderabad, and he lives in the famous city of Hyderabad, and he leaves Babul Madina Karachi to head for Hyderabad, and he arrives there at 10 o'clock in the morning. Now if this person has not eaten anything since dawn during the journey, then it is wajib for him to make the intention of fast. Number 4, if somebody sets out to a journey at daytime, he cannot break, so he's kept a fast from home and he set off on a journey. If somebody sets out on a journey at daytime, he cannot break that day's fast because of the journey. However, if he broke the fast during the journey, he would not be required to pay the kafara for it, but doing so is a sin. For breaking the fast is a sin. And it's also first to make up for this fast as well. And the last one, if somebody breaks fast before he sets out for the journey, so he's kept a fast, he's at home, and he's going to set off, but he goes, I'm on a journey now anyway, I'm going to more than 57.5 miles, so I'll break my fast because I'm a traveller. So if somebody breaks fast before he sets out on his journey, and then he begins his journey after breaking his fast, then kafara will be mandatory for him, providing the conditions for the kafara of it. صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله على محمد.
Islam brothers and viewers of the channel, Amir al-Sunnah, he tells us that before the month of Ramadan, we should all try and read this book. We should read this book from cover to cover, because inshallah, during this month of Ramadan, we are trying to perform our fast and we're trying to do the best that we can. And if we do not do the rulings of what we are doing, then inshallah, then maybe we can actually fail. So Amir al-Sunnah, he says, before the month of Ramadan, try and make a habit of every year reading this book. And today on the Madani Muzakara, a lot of the Islamic brothers that were there in the court of Islam, they all made the niyat that inshallah after the month of Ramadan, they will all go and read this book from cover to cover. So all of you that views, please also make this intention to purchase this book or download it online, www.dawislami.net. Download this book and read it from cover to cover, and inshallah azza wa jalla you will benefit. Just as well, the book that Wasima is going through as well is also the Laws of Salah. This is a book that we're going through every day as well. This book we should also try and purchase and read. Again, it not just covers the method of salah, it covers the wuzu, the ghusl, the method of mis-salah, method of performing the mis-salah, the method of isal-sawab. All these things are covered in the method of azan, the Jummah, the blessings of Jummah and everything, all encoded in this book. So again, it's an encyclopedia that needs to be in every single household, and learn from this book, and inshallah we can benefit from it as well. So my dear Islamic brothers and viewers of Madani channel, you've been watching the Silsila Blissfull Saher. Today we've been talking about those people, those unfortunate people that won't even smell the fragrance of paradise, and we've warned you and we've said that these are the people that need to protect themselves from this calamity that could happen to us if we are amongst those people. How to attain paradise? Come to the beautiful Mahal of Dawat Islami. In the Mahal of Dawat Islami, you'll attend the weekly ijtimas, you'll learn how to read the Quran. One of the messages that we got here is how can I learn to read my Quran? Well, wherever you are, my Islamic brother, Islamic sister, I'm not too sure, is that wherever you are in the world, or if there is a local zimadar there or a zimadar there, contact them, and there'll be balighan classes if you are above the age, or there'll be madrasas, or if you're in a remote place where you're miles from nowhere. We've had people here in the UK, in the Outer Hebrides, that they have no access to any local masjid or people. Then Dawat Islami also provides a service for you where we have Madrasatul Madina online. You can go online there, and it can be the time that suits you. If you want to do the Madrasa or Madrasatul Madina at 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever time suits you, go online, put that registration application in, tell them that this is the time that you want, and as soon as that slot becomes available, they'll give you that time.
They do in English as well, and in Urdu as well.
Mashallah.
And you can do it in the comfort of your own house.
Mashallah. Again, it's in the comfort of your own house, so wherever you are, we need to take benefit. And Dawat Islami not only provides the course for reading the Quran, there's also many other online courses that if you go to our website, www.dawatislami.net, and if you look at the courses there's many other courses available. There's separate courses that are available for the brothers, separate courses that are available for sisters. Take benefit from this. There was a time where we said that we've got nobody here to help us, we've got nobody here to teach us. Dawat Islami, if they are in your town, they will provide that service for you. If Dawat Islami, if you're away from, if there's not a masjid or a madrasa in your town, and it doesn't suit you, or even if there is a masjid or madrasa in your town and the timings do not suit you because you're working, then Dawat Islami will provide that service 24 hours a day, where you can learn how to read the Quran online. And now, obviously, when you are learning to read the Quran online, they don't just teach you how to read the Quran as well, they teach you how to perform dars, and they go through the books like Laws of Salah as well. So please, enroll on these courses, get your children to enroll on these courses, and inshallah Azza wa Jalla you will benefit from this. Today you're watching Blissfull Saher, the Saturday program in the UK, and I hope and pray that all of us in the remaining days of the month of Ramadan, now half of the month has passed, and we've not really achieved anything, and I pray to Allah Azza wa Jalla, whatever little we have done, may Allah Azza wa Jalla accept it, and may Allah Azza wa Jalla give us the tawfiq and the ability in these last half of the month of Ramadan that we can try and at least do something to attain paradise. Because the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, like we said, woe unto him whose parents attain an old age, in the same way the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, woe unto him who a month of Ramadan comes and a month of Ramadan goes and he fails to attain paradise. So this is the month in which we need to try and do our best. I know we're all busy, we all have work, we all have things to do, but we need to make a jadwal, a Madani jadwal, so that we can take the utmost benefit from this month and inshallah attain as much blessings as possible. You've been watching Madani channel, Blissfull Saher. Inshallah, keep on watching Madani channel. If you don't watch any of the program, make sure you tune in and watch the daily Madani Muzakras of Amir Sunnat. He's giving his valuable time during the month of Ramadan, and inshallah after the month of Ramadan, every Saturday night there will be a Madani Muzakra. Amir Sunnat gives us such Madani pearls that you will not find in any of the book. So please take time out and watch Madani channel. صلوا على الحبيب صلى الله تعال على محمد.